Looks like we're still doing this, so it's Casual Friday number 2, where I'm going to be talking about Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, or Percy Jackson the Lightning Thief, by Rick Riordan. This book is a really great example of getting readers, young readers, invested so quickly and in an unexpected way. This is something to think about if you are writing for young readers, particularly for boys in the 8 to 12-year-old range, maybe a little bit older. Percy Jackson is just really incredible at what it does. Now I had a copy. I had a different copy. I had to buy a new one because I seem to have misplaced it or possibly lent it out. There's a chance I gave it to a TA. So Tanya, if you're watching this and you have my copy of The Lightning Thief, let me know. Thanks. Now I just want to show you the first page and what I've done. Yeah, there it's pretty clear. You see I have a lot of stuff underlined, a lot of notes. My original copy had a lot more notes. But what I've done there is I really mark up this first page, partly as a way to show my students, the benefits of taking notes and writing in their books, but because there's so much on this first page that invites readers in and also pushes them away and says, hey, don't read this. Percy starts out really defensive because he's narrating, look, I didn't want to be a half-blood. If you're reading this because you think you might be one, my advice is close this book right now. Believe whatever lie your mom or dad told you about your birth and try to lead a normal life. So Percy Jackson begins by telling readers, hey, you don't want to read any of this. This is scary. This is not good stuff. If you think you're a normal kid and you think this is all fantasy, great, but this is all real. This is dangerous. Don't read it because you might be special like me. You might be special and you might go off on grand adventures, so you don't want to read this. And of course, the conceit there is pretty obvious that by telling young readers that, hey, this is dangerous, this is taboo, this is something that normal people, normal kids who aren't special, can believe is fantasy. But if you're special, you don't want to read this. He says, but if you recognize yourself in these pages, if you feel something stirring inside, to stop reading immediately. Of course, every kid who reads that is going to say, oh, I need to keep on reading to see what all this danger is about. Why is this author, or why is this narrator telling me don't read anymore? So what Percy Jackson does in this opening, it does something we tell, we're taught to do in basic business courses, business writing, marketing. The first thing you need to do before you try to pitch anything, before you try to sell anything, is you gain the reader's interest. You make it about their desires, their needs. And Percy Jackson has this very strong you focus, which is important in business writing, of course. You make it about the client, the customer, the user. What do they need? What do they feel? What do they want? And Percy Jackson takes that approach to the novel and says, this isn't just going to be about the main character, it's going to be about the main character as an analog, as a representation, or a sit-in for the readers, for the young readers. It's about the reader. It's not about what the reader is reading, but rather what they're feeling and thinking and experiencing, and how they can project themselves into the story. If you can do that as a writer, then you're probably going to be, or you have a good chance at least, of being as successful as popular as these Percy Jackson books have been and continue to be. And my 9-year-old nephew is very much into Rick Riordan, or at least he has been recently. So these books, even though they're 14 years old now, the first one anyway, they're still being read, much like Harry Potter. They still find their audience. Next week, we're going to follow up this idea of characters and readers who feel very special, very powerful, with a book that's all about a character who feels not at all special and really isn't unique or special in any kind of way. That's going to be, and it's one of my favorite kids' books. It's Jacob Have I Loved by Catherine Patterson.